After years of rumors, Drew Scott, star of Property Brothers, is finally speaking out about what fans have been talking about. He is 47 years old. Drew's journey hasn't been as smooth as it seems on screen. He's had sudden breaks in shooting, health scares, and big changes in his personal life. What's been going on behind the scenes? Why does Drew want to talk now? Come with us as we look into the man behind the camera and find out what's really going on. Beginnings in Vancouver that are humble. Drew Scott's life began in 1978 in Vancouver, Canada, when he and his twin brother Jonathan were born. They had a lot in common from the very beginning. Not just brothers, they were more than that. In everything they did, they worked together as best friends. Not only did they share a birthday, but they also went through many of the same things, dreams, and problems as kids. A lot of what they are today comes from their parents, Jim and Joan Scott. Their dad, Jim, had an interesting past that had a bigger effect on the boys than anyone thought possible. Jim used to work in movies as an actress and stuntman before he settled down and had a more peaceful life. Fun things were always a part of their home life because of this. As kids, the boys heard stories from movie sets and saw their dad act. Jim left that world in the end to spend more time with his family, but Drew and Jonathan were already being inspired to be creative and act. Jim taught them about hard work, freedom, and how important it is to make their own way in life. His acting career was an inspiration to them. He taught the twins to think like business owners from a very young age. He wasn't quick to give them things. Instead, he told them to be responsible, do real work, and learn how much money is worth. The boys thought about ways to make money when they were only 7 years old. Drew and Jonathan opened their first business when they were 8 years old. They made wire hangers wrapped in fabric and sold them, going from door to door in their neighborhood to sell things. Even though it was a simple item, they made it themselves. The hangers were made and sold with a lot of time and work. When one customer bought a lot, all their hard work paid off. For the boys, that moment was very important. For them, it was their first real business win. What they did not only earned them extra money, but it also lit a fire in them. They understood that they could make something on their own if they worked hard and were creative. It was the start of a trip that would become something much bigger over time. Drew Scott's first love was acting, but real estate would become a big part of his life in the end. When Drew and Jonathan were teenagers, they were interested in the arts and culture. Since their father used to be an actor and stuntman, it's not a surprise that they felt at ease on stage. They took part in plays at school and in other neighborhood productions. Drew liked taking on different parts and performing in front of people, but they weren't just acting for fun. Even though it was a simple item, they made it themselves. The hangers were made and sold with a lot of time and work. When one customer bought a lot, all their hard work paid off. For the boys, that moment was very important. For them, it was their first real business win. What they did not only earned them extra money, but it also lit a fire in them. They understood that they could make something on their own if they worked hard and were creative. It was the start of a trip that would become something much bigger over time. Drew Scott's first love was acting, but real estate would become a big part of his life in the end. When Drew and Jonathan were teenage RS, they were interested in the arts and culture. Since their father used to be an actor and stuntman, it's not a surprise that they felt at ease on stage. They took part in plays at school and in O. They also came up with smart ways to make money from it. One of the strangest and most interesting things they did was learn to be party clowns. That's right, Drew and Jonathan ran clown shows at parties to make money and have fun with the kids. They learned how to dance, make balloon animals, and laugh around. It may sound silly, but it taught them important lessons about being sure of themselves, getting along with others, and being able to think quickly on their feet. These early shows helped Drew get used to performing in front of large groups of people, which would help him a lot later in his TV career. Drew knew how important school was, even though he was becoming more interested in acting. He stopped playing for a while to improve his grades. He and Jonathan both signed up to go to the University of Calgary. It was a big step, and it showed that Drew really wanted to build a strong future for himself. The artist in him never stopped, even when he was in school. Even though he still performed whenever he could, he was beginning to think about how to make money and have a safe future. It turned out that all of these things he had done, from acting and business to dealing with failures, would soon come together in a way that would surprise him and change his life forever. Stay tuned, because next we'll talk about how Drew went from college to working in real estate. He didn't know it at the time, but it would make him a TV star in the end. The Vancouver shift, they got their start in real estate because they had to. Drew and Jonathan rented a rundown house close to the college. They thought of a better way to use it than just living in it. They chose to fix it up and let other students rent it. It was their first time fixing up a house to sell it for money. It was hard work. Even though they were still full-time students, it was worth it in the end. The rental made them money in the end. Even more important, they saw that they were good at real estate. Something made them do that first flip. Soon, Drew and Jonathan started looking for more homes that they could fix up and sell again. Over time, they gained more knowledge. They learned how to save money, find good deals, and fix up houses in ways that would make them worth more. They quickly saw that real estate was more than just a side job. It became a very important matter. But the road wasn't always easy to travel on. They often had to work with real estate marketers in their early deals. Some of these events were disappointing, though. Some of the agents didn't seem to care as much or be as honest as Drew thought they would be. He made a big choice because of this. They had to be in charge if they wanted to keep working in real estate. Drew worked hard at school and got his real estate license. He was then able to handle all of their deals and the whole process by himself. By 2006, the brothers had decided to go ahead with it. They started their own business called Scott Real Estate. The plan was easy: just buy houses, fix them up, and sell them. But Drew still had real estate as a backup plan. He was still really interested in playing and making people laugh. He thought it was time to follow his real dream again after helping the business get off the ground. Drew got Jonathan to take care of most of the tasks and moved back to Vancouver to try acting again. Drew was very happy when he got back to Vancouver. Now was his chance to finally give his all to what he loved most. He took acting lessons to improve his skills and started going to events in the industry to meet other people in the business. There were many people he wanted to meet because they could help him get a big part. He put everything he had into becoming an actress. But it's not always easy to follow your dream. Drew worked hard and was talented, but he wasn't getting the results he wanted. The theater business was tough, and no one had ever done that before. Twin brothers worked together to help people fix up their homes and make them their dream homes. It made the show more interesting and fun. The idea was even stronger because both of them had a lot of experience in their fields. That's when the show's structure changed again, and this time it worked great. When the name was changed to Property Brothers, it became clear what the goal was. Drew would help families find the right home within their budget, which was usually an older home that needed work. Jonathan would then take charge of the repairs and make the house look brand new. They would work together to make a beautiful finished home and an unforgettable experience. Property Brothers first aired on HGTV in 2011, and viewers liked it right from the start. The show was about more than just homes and renovations. It was about real families, real problems, and real changes. People saw the ups and downs of the emotional process of buying a house. As the building deadlines got closer, budgets were put to the test and plans had to be changed. Of course, the big reveal at the end of every show made it all worth it. The first time a family walked into their brand new dream home, Drew's part was very important. He helped each family figure out how much they could spend, showed them places that met their needs, and shopped around for the best deals. After that, Jonathan took over. With his good taste and style and hands-on experience, he is in charge of the renovation. The show didn't feel fake because they worked together and joked around naturally. One big reason people kept watching episode after episode was because of how well they got along. Property Brothers was a big hit right away because it had powerful visuals, emotional stories, and useful knowledge. The Scott brothers became famous because of it, and laid the groundwork for what would grow into a full-on media power. They were no longer just TV stars or real estate agents. They were fully formed brand creators, entertainers, and stars in their field. Drew's getting sick. In 2019, people began to notice something was off. Drew wasn't on the show as often as he used to be. He was in fewer shows at times, and he wasn't there at all at other times. Fans could only guess. Drew and his brother Jonathan seemed to be having an affair. Was there a fight on set that made things tense? Had Drew made up his mind to quit the show for good? As the questions kept coming up, Drew decided it was time to set the record straight. Drew told the truth in a public speech that came from the heart. He had been having a lot of health problems for more than a year. There was no family drama going on when he was less on the show. It was for a much more personal and important reason. Drew said he had started having some weird symptoms that didn't make sense when put together. It felt like the flu at first, but things got worse over time instead of better.